my fellow nerds, Kalko here. So, to celebrate 10 years of me creating Hetalia cringe on the internet, and to gain hype for the shipping awards, I thought I would do a repeat of some of my top-rated Hetalia videos. And a lot of those are top 10s. So I thought I'd start with the video that propelled me to fandom fame and controversy. My 1,000 subscriber special. Oh, how long ago that was. My top 10 most frustrating or most annoying Hetalia characters. Well, first I'm gonna go with a disclaimer. I don't hate any of these characters. Some of them are actually on my favorites list, surprisingly. These are just kind of characters that frustrate me, or disappoint me, or that just aren't my cup of tea, or that I just can't really relate to. So let's see how my list has changed over the years. First we have some dishonorable mentions with the Philippines, Ireland, and Portugal, all of which I wanted to be female but weren't. And then also on my dishonorable mentions we have Sweden and Finland, which I still believe, even after all these years, should switch their names. Because Sweden's known for the happy, friendly people, and then Finland's known for the quiet, stoic people that are kind of like Sweden. But they're not exactly on this list because, to be fair, Hema has kind of really rounded out Finland to make him more like, oh, he's so soft and cushy on the outside, but he's really dark and listens to heavy metal all day. Also, I kind of like the whole, oh, they're this way on the outside, but completely different on the inside as well. I think that's really cool. Anyways, let's get to the actual list. Number 10. Latvia. Again, I'm going to ask this question. Why are you so small? You may remember that he's on pretty much every single one of my negative lists when it comes to inaccuracy, most annoying characters. He's just a reoccurring character, and every time I bring up his height. Granted, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Hema realized that 140 centimeters is a ridiculous height for a 15-year-old boy from Latvia, and gave him an extra 10 centimeters, which I'm grateful for. But it's still kind of weird how, compared to most Latvian stereotypes, this character is absolutely nothing like that except for the trauma and the fear of Russia. But yet also kind of being forced to hang out with Russia. That's like the only stereotype they really got with this character. Also, this character just kind of breaks a lot of lore because he's so small and so young looking. You have no idea how many mental gymnastics you have to do to really justify his age. Because, like, Latvia as a country, I mean, I get it. Latvian history has shown time and time again that Latvians have been ruled by outside powers for the longest time and haven't really been their own thing since they were, like, pagan Baltic tribes. But then Estonia should kind of be the same way too, and just the lack of consistency kind of irks me a little bit. You're going to notice a big theme on this list. The majority of characters on this list somehow break the lore to some degree. Because Hema tries, as of lately, to set up this big lore like, oh, nations work this way, nations work that way. And then, like, a couple comics later, he just disproves whatever lore that he just set up. And that kind of irks me. He's only number 10 on the list because, honestly, he's kind of one of my favorites. He's really adorable, and I really like his character. Like, as a person, Latvia is just a very interesting character, so I can't put him too high on the list. It's definitely a major improvement from the last time, though. Also at number 10, we have Ukraine. Oh boy, this character aged like milk. I mean, like milk on a sunny day. Her character, personality, and everything is so sweet and wonderful, but her relationship with Russia and stuff has not aged well since 2007, 2008. Having a whole song dedicated to how much she loves him and how much she misses him and everything. Oh gosh, looking at that now just... And as someone who works in that field, I can't just ignore it. Number 9. Moldova. Also another character that breaks the lore because of how young and small he is. Again, like, the amount of historical mental gymnastics I have to do to justify his age is too frustrating, and that's why he's on here. The only reason Moldova can be this young, as if Moldavia and Moldova were not the same. Or if Hema just didn't do his research and just thought, oh, let's just make him a little kid. It's probably the latter. But as with Latvia, I really grew to love this character over time, especially since at conventions there were somebody that always cosplayed Romania and Moldova together, and I would be Bulgaria, and that's just a very fond memory that I have, and that and just writing Moldova's character is just a lot of fun. I really grew attached to this character, so I can't really put him high up there on the list. Like last time he was number 2. And I can't put him that high anymore because he's just so adorable as he goes door to door asking for underwear. But I still don't understand why he still doesn't have pants. Number 8. Russia. But Kalko, isn't he like your favorite character? Didn't you name your channel after him? Correction, he was my favorite character. But over the years, as I've done more and more of these videos, this character has been ruined for me. I already talked about his missed potential with his design, like with his height and everything, but that's not really much I care about. What really ruined this character for me was just how manipulative and just how much of a really awful person he was to other people. The manipulation and the stuff he put Latvia through, that's something that's very similar to something I went through quite a few times. The whole, oh, if you don't do this to me, you're not my friend anymore, or, oh, if you don't do this to me, you don't really love me thing. It's something that really hits home for me, and I just can't not see it anymore. I just don't have that same excitement or rush of joy anymore when I see Russia. Granted, part of this may be also because of my job, but now I can't not see that dark side anymore. I used to relate to Russia so much, but now I just see the people that hurt me. That doesn't mean he's badly written, no. Characters are most certainly allowed to have flaws, it's just... And honestly, I kind of like how Hema was willing to bring out topics and stuff like this. My issue with Russia is more personal. As in, if I were to meet him as a person, I would not like him. Number 7. Cyprus and Egypt. Egypt is on here because he is the definition of missed potential in Hetalia. There is so much you could do with Egypt. Egypt is a very happening country. But Hema just said, oh, I'm just gonna make him very quiet and very soft-spoken and just pay more attention to his mom than I will to him. And I'm just like, what? I mean, granted, he got a couple of arcs in World Stars, but he was just very briefly there. Egypt is not a passive country. You could have opened up an arc about him discovering his mom's past or his relationship with his mom or his relationship with Turkey or just... There's so much you built up here. From the things we do see from Egypt, there's so many cool relations to be had here. But the way Hema built his character, it's just none of that will probably ever get explored. This is built up to be such an important character. He even got a human name and a Neotalia character. An incorrect human name, but nonetheless. If this character is meant to be so important, then where the hell is he? But at the very least, the fandom recognizes this, and he has actually appeared in World Stars. There are actually a surprising number of Egypt fans out there. I don't know what it is, I just can't really connect or relate to Cyprus. He kind of just feels underbaked, and honestly, even his little brother is more interesting, even though he has way less screen time and is super controversial to, like, all Greeks. Also, the hell is going on with your hair, man? Basically, his role kind of boils down to, Mom, Dad, stop fighting. And that's pretty much it. We don't really know much else about him, and he's kind of made out to be this really important character in Turkey and Greece's relationship, and yet we don't see a lot of him. They tell instead of show about Cyprus, and we really don't know that much about his personality-wise, and he just feels kind of underdeveloped. I mean, there's a lot of characters that are underdeveloped, and they're still amazing characters. Like Knight Templar only appears like a couple of times and hasn't even had an anime adaptation, but yet he's still a really cool character, and there's so much really cool fan art of him. But yet With Cypress, like, I've yet to see any modern fan art of Cypress. I've yet to see anyone who is a true Cypress fan that isn't actually from the island itself. I have yet to see a single fan go, oh my gosh, I stan Cypress so hard. No, no one does. Because no one cares. Because there's nothing to care about with this character. So as a result, there's no cool fan art or fan works of him or anything. He's just wasted potential. Even Egypt, the poster child of forgotten Hetalia potential, has gotten at least something over the years. I don't think Hima's touched Cyprus since he's first created him. At least Egypt got a couple of arcs and world stars. Both of these characters have some very serious missed potential and very serious underdevelopment. While Egypt has received a bit of redemption, from the way his character is set up, I really have a feeling I'm not going to like the future arcs involved with him, and I feel like he should have been made a lot differently. With Cypress, he has some great potential, but I don't see Himaruya taking it anywhere in the future. But if you want to talk about missed potential, look no further than this next character. Number 6. Poland. While Poland is also another one of my favorites, there are several reasons why he's on here, mostly due to disappointments. Over the years, it's been a lot better, and he's gotten a lot more interesting arcs, but I still have a lot of disappointments from the fact that he's not female like he was originally planned. Yes, I'm still salty about that. Poland would have been such an adorable girl. Also, the lack of religiosity and basically any Polish stereotype except for the dumb one. As much as I love making fun of my own people, you have to have more than one joke, Hima. I'm not really mad about him not being dark and edgy and whatever. His character in itself is actually kinda interesting, and I kinda like exploring it. But another reason why he's on this list is because he breaks the lore. It is heavily implied, and in some cases pretty closely stated, that when a nation disappears, it dies. But yet, in the While You Were Gone comic, it is heavily implied that Poland didn't disappear when he was partitioned. I'm sorry, the thing that you established for a very long time, that, oh, when the nation's gone, they disappear, we'll just throw that all out the window, because Poland has to find some way to live. Having him just even being in a coma for like 100 years would have had so much potential and would have had a lot more heavier effect on the fandom. But that's like the other big issue I have with Poland, is that there's just so much cool potential here and none of it is explored. There is so much you can do with Polish history, because Polish history is wild. It's so full of drama. I mean, basically it's like a free plot line and you're just not going to touch it. Additionally, Poland is such a fun character. It's just, there's just so much wasted potential here. Number 5. Spain. My reasons for not liking Spain are kind of the same as before. I feel he's kind of overrated, his design's kind of bland, and then a lot of reasons why I roasted him. He's kind of a crappy person, especially what he did to Romano for so many years. Romano's kind of become one of my favorite characters, so I can't not see Spain in like a negative light after all the crap he's pulled on Romano. But I can't really rate him too high because he has a lot of moments that are just so meme-worthy and just kind of make me laugh. He's just so weird and I love him for that. But it's really hard to unsee those deleted comics. Number 4. Korea. Oh boy, now we're getting into the real doozies. Okay, first of all, the fact that he's described as being 15, 16, though I don't know what source that's from, but if it's really an accurate source, then why? That would break a lot of lore. It's confirmed Korea's really old, and yet they make him look like 16. Then again, China and Japan have this issue, but not as bad as it is with Korea. Not to mention, this character is like really political, and it's the most political Hima really has ever gotten, other than putting Taiwan and Tibet in the series. And at least I think Hima realized his mistake and kind of stopped with this. I mean, on one hand, it is an interesting case study on how the Japanese see Koreans, but at the same time, because of this, he got completely banned, which honestly I definitely understand because of just how political it was. Also, why is he in a hanbok? That's mostly for women. And then, most importantly, this character was kind of just left there to rot. Like, they could have retconned him or given him a redemption arc, kind of like France, but nope, Korea's just gone now. Because Hima is just so ashamed of this character, he just locked him up, didn't ever want to touch him ever again. But I do appreciate how, despite implicit biases from growing up in Japan, Korea didn't turn out too bad. Like, I like the little subtle details about how he's muscular because of mandatory military service and how he's the tallest, and I really appreciate the fact that there's only one Korea, because South Korea doesn't recognize North Korea as a country. It only recognizes it as like a de facto faction group that just took over the North. South Korea believes the entire peninsula to be one Korea. And that's why I just call him Korea instead of South Korea, because from what I learned in my time over there, in the Seoul, there is only one Korea. Also, I don't think they really made Korea as conformist or serious enough. After being there and dating someone who was Korean for like over a year, I don't feel they really captured the perfectionist, conformist, very seriousness of a lot of Korean society. And they kind of just captured all the glitz and glamour and the media industry that comes out of Korea. Which may just be what Japan sees all the time. Number 3. Germania and Rome. I never really could connect to the ancient characters. I don't know why. Whenever I see a comic when the ancient characters are the focus, the back of my mind just kind of goes, ugh, another one of these stories, ugh. I don't know, I'm just not all that interested in super ancient history. And these are kind of the only characters that, when I see them in comics, I instantly think, oh gosh, another one of these ones. That's the reason why they're so high up here. I actively do not want to read the comics that involve these characters. Number 2. Kyoto, Osaka, and all the Japanese prefectures. The main reason why they're all here is because they absolutely destroy Hetalia lore. For the longest time, we've had this whole lore set up where different parts of the nation were represented as parts of the body. America's glasses are Texas. France's beard is Gorget du Temps. Hungary's little hair clip is Lake Balaton. Ukraine's titties are her large tracts of farmland. And then we get these characters, and that just all flies out the window. Granted, I think most of these characters' designs were just for fun, but Kyoto and Osaka actually show up in the series. And it would be understandable if they were their own countries at some point, you know, like the Germanic states like Bavaria and everything, but they weren't. Even if they were, you still would have to ask the Texas question, which is, why is Texas America's glasses when they've been a country for 13 days? What makes a personification and what makes a body part? Can we personify states, or are they actually body parts? This is by far the most frustrating part of Hetalia for me. The inconsistent lore. Kyoto's cute, so she kind of gets a pass, but Osaka and his fake ginger hair do not get a pass from me. But there is still one character that I dislike more than all of these characters. Number 1! Yep, you guessed it, it's still Picardy. I dislike him for like the exact same reasons as Kyoto and Osaka, but I just hate his design a lot more. At least Osaka and Kyoto kind of have realistic designs, like the rest of the Hetalia characters. Picardy just says, nope, screw it. I have functioning Neko Mimi and a tail. So not only does the lore not make sense, but his design doesn't make sense either. At least Kyoto and Osaka are cute. Picardy's just plain and just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, Picardy is still my least favorite character. I'm gonna end things there. So a lot has really changed since I started my channel. Maybe my favorites have changed too. Be sure to look out for that and the rules for the shipping awards that are coming up soon. And until then, keep on studying.